This is Troy Miller, the organizer and originator of F64 Live. Today, I'm going to be talking with Karen Nakamura, an amazing photographer and composite artist, and we're going to be talking about her butterflies. Now, one of the nice things about Karen, other than being my friend and hanging out with me on occasion, is that she will be teaching at F64 Live this year, which is going to be taking place on September 13th and the 12th. Notice how I did that backwards, just to catch your attention. You can find out more about F64 Live at f64live.com. So without further ado, Karen, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
You ready to dive into this? I have got all these amazing photos of you. Not of you, but of your work. I've got a couple amazing photos of you, but we won't show those. For those of you that just joined us and those of you that are hanging out, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat, and myself and David will be paying attention to those. We will call on you if we want to have you sort of ask your question verbally, if we have time for that kind of thing. So, Karen, fine art photographer, right? PPA. Tell me all your titles, because I'm going to get them wrong.
Uh, Master artist, master photographer, and craftsman.
Master craftsman,
Yeah,
right? And
or
yep,
photographic craftsman.
right. And that is with the for all with PPA, right? The Professional Photographers of America.
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Although I have California too.
And
So
California, you just
yeah.
win awards everywhere.
No.
Well, what we're going to do today, guys, is this is going to be a two-part series because as I was telling Karen, I was looking at a whole bunch of her imagery and I thought, there is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to go through all of this in that short amount of time. So what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and jump right in here. Karen, these are some of your composites. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen real quick. So what we've got is, there we go. So first of all, you know that I make these really amazing pots and vases.
You do? Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
I think we need to share some work. We need to
Yeah,
collaborate a little bit.
I think so.
You just tell me what shapes you want, and I'll throw something together for you. But
Okay. Any kind of vase.
ooh, okay, all right. I'm getting off topic. So here is a series of some of your images showing like your before and after. And one of the things that strikes me right away is where they're photographed, what they look like, and then how you're putting them together in a composite, basically an illustration, right? A digital piece of art. How do you manage all that light? Like, walk me through this image for a sec. Like, tell me what this one's all about.
Well, basically, as far as the butterflies, I don't have a choice other than the butterflies that I raise. I can light them the way I want to, but when I'm outside, I don't have a choice. It's basically where they are, and we can't train the butterflies to be somewhere. So we can pick the time of day, but a lot of times I actually go to places to photograph. So while you're there, you can't really pick the light. So most of the time I shoot the flowers to match the butterflies.
Oh, okay. I see. Because then you shoot the butterfly. I mean, I'm sorry, you shoot the flowers in studio where you can control the light.
Right.
Okay. Got it. Got it. So like this one, for example, you captured these butterflies. Now, I noticed that you do a little manipulation, right? Like this top one on the right sitting on the leaf, and then you've used that butterfly in the top left of your frame. So you've worked the legs a little bit, like
Yeah,
he's getting some drag, yeah. He's moving out. Yeah, he's moving. He's moving. And I love this because this is there's no butterflies in this, but what I did notice is that you tweaked the orchid, right? Like at
right.
the tip.
Yeah,
So
I tend to like to liquefy a lot of things, or sometimes work whatever works better or what looks more realistic to me. But I normally, these kind of images, I always just add the stems and the leaves separate from
So,
the
so
flowers.
tell me how, I mean, like, how did this get started for you? How did you see this? I mean, this requires a vision. This isn't just, oh, there's a pretty flower in a vase or in a field. I'm going to go photograph it, and then there's the image. I mean, you're building a scene, right? You're like a movie director. You're like, literally you're building a scene. So what's your inspiration for that?
Well, when I see that it's a flower, that inspires me. So, depending on what it is and what it looks like, and as far as groups, I might take flowers separately to so I can manipulate it later, or I might just take it as a whole if I actually like it. Like for instance, the other flower, I think two back, the peach orchid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See how I kind of like it, but then I didn't like it. It wasn't perfect. So I added the little flower on the bottom right, because I tend to like threes.
Well, that's yeah, that's good. That's a good pattern too. Yeah, yeah, rule of thirds. And
Mm-hmm.
so
And then,
one thing I noticed in this image is if I don't look at the left side of this image, I'm like, wow, that is a crazy cool flower. And then I realized like you shot it while it was in like a prison or something, right?
because it was in a bird cage, and I couldn't get the whole flower all by itself, so I had to shoot through um, the cage.
Through the cage, through the bars,
Yeah,
right, right. So you had to move around and get the little
right.
pieces.
So I had to imagine like where things would be connected, and then I would connect it later in Photoshop.
So when you start photographing a flower or something like this, do you have the final product in mind already? Are you pre-visualizing, that final shot?
Not the total final shot, but then I normally have what the flower will look like in my head. And I might even have like the bird or the butterfly to match. So it depends on where I go and what I'm shooting.
So sometimes you start with the birds, and sometimes you start with the butterfly or the flower or
Okay.
or maybe a vase. I mean, have you ever started like, oh, here's a vase I want to use, and I got to go find.
Yes. The very first one with the blue background that we were talking about, the pottery, that one, I already knew what I wanted to do.
Oh wow.
So I
Oh,
bought the plant, which is, I'm not sure what that is, what kind of leaves those were. But I went to Joann's and bought that and then added the bird and the butterfly later. And a lot of times, sometimes I shoot the flower because I think it's pretty. So then I just have to wait for the perfect butterfly or bird to go with it if I want to do that, or a vase. So I have a library of thousands of pictures.
right.
Wait,
I would imagine.
yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I mean, what's the toughest process for you in gathering these images? I mean, what's the hardest thing for you? I mean, do you just find it easy for you to go out and you see images of butterflies and basically collecting assets? Is that easy for you, or do you struggle with certain parts of that? How would you suggest people start doing that if they want to build their library?
Just go out and shoot in good light. Basically, that's the most important thing. You don't want it to be really, really sunny, like if you can avoid it. Like I understand, like butterflies, a lot of times it ends up being in a sunny, bright day. But then that means that you have to shoot the flower that way. So you just have to pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Right. Now I think you had an image in here. Oh, there you go. Like here's some of your gear. There's your camera set up, and you're
Hmm.
photographing one of your flowers. Okay.
I shoot a lot, kind of like directional light with Bill.
Mm-hmm. So it's
Um,
nice and soft. Do you have to manipulate in post? Like, do you have to add shadows or highlights
yeah,
to an image? Okay.
I tend to do that. I tweak the butterflies and I tweak actually anything, the birds and the flowers to match what I want to do.
Now, a lot of this work that you have here, you sent me a lot of butterflies.
Yeah, that's one of the butterflies that I really like that I don't know what to do. That one too.
Oh, this one, this guy looks like he got beat up, right? The back of his wing.
I
I mean, I don't know if that's a sexy butterfly or not, but okay.
just
So,
like him. He's really cool.
where did you photograph this one at?
This was at Butterfly Jungle, I think. Um, there's all different locations that I go to photograph exotic butterflies. Um, Butterfly Palladium is one that's at the Natural History Museum. Um, there's Butterfly Jungle that's once a year at the San Diego Safari Park. And
Oh
then
wow.
been to Butterfly Wonderland in Arizona, and that's in Scottsdale, and that's like my favorite. They have so many different kind of butterflies.
So these kind of butterflies, if you were going to use these, because of the lighting, I would assume that you would have to manipulate the lighting a little bit, like in
Right,
post, right, to tune
right,
that up.
a
Yeah.
lot.
So what is your favorite butterfly? Like if you could just have that one on in stock all the time, let's say.
Well, I tend to use a fritillary a lot. Um, that's my favorite. That's a glass wing. It's actually see-through.
Oh my gosh.
So I actually didn't give you that image that because I didn't have time to like put together the little collage.
Oh, that's fine. You know what? Part two.
Yeah.
Part two. Yeah. How do you mask out a transparent butterfly? There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, actually I did one. So
That is really cool. That's amazing. Now, where was this photographed at?
that's a Butterfly Wonderland. That's the one in Scottsdale. I've never seen it anywhere else.
Oh, wow. So, right now, because we're all on vacation, and we may or may not be able to go someplace that has butterflies or flowers, right?
Right.
What would be some tips that you could offer somebody right now to go do, right? I mean, go out in your backyard. Like I
You
got
can just go
butterflies,
out in
but
your backyard, and most likely there will be butterflies back there unless you don't have any flowers. You can track like hummingbirds. I do that right now, which I haven't actually photographed them the way I want to, but um, yeah, they're so interesting. I can probably spend all day doing that.
the hummingbirds.
Yeah, so it's 2 cups water and a half a cup of sugar, and you heat it up. Heat up the microwave water in the microwave, and then just add the cup of sugar or half cup of sugar, and then just put a bunch of feeders out there, and then you have tons of hummingbirds. And you can try to attract the butterflies by slices of oranges. You can actually have the sugar water there too, and then make sure it's on something with a bright color, like sponges, yellow sponges can attract the butterflies.
Now I looked at this image and it's hanging underneath a device called Trepit, and I had to look that up because I didn't know what that was. But that keeps ants
Right.
right from crawling down into. See,
Uh-huh.
I don't think of that kind of stuff. You know, I can cut your car in half with a plasma cutter, but I didn't know that ants would like attack my hummingbird feeder.
Yeah, that's actually a huge problem. Attracting hummingbirds is I have some hanging from my house, the underneath the eaves,
Uh-huh.
which the ants haven't gotten to those. But then if I have it hanging from a plant hanger, then a lot of times it attracts all the bugs. It's not
Oh,
for them to walk up onto the poles.
I got it. So one of the things that I know that you really like to do is that you actually raise your own butterflies.
Yes.
And that is probably one of the most amazing things to me, is because I did not know that was possible, right? Like so many different ones. So tell me a little bit about raising the butterflies. Like how did
So I
that get
found out,
started?
go ahead.
No, how did that get started?
I found out that the fritillary butterfly lays eggs on passion fruit, which is a bottom picture.
Uh-huh.
And I first I saw the caterpillar and I looked up what it was. And I've seen fritillary butterflies around, but I didn't know what they, ate. So then when I found out that they laid on the passion fruit, then I would find the eggs. And then when they would hatch, I would just give them a leaf every day.
Got it. So
Yeah,
that's how you got started with the butterflies. So how many butterflies are you growing right now?
probably around 15.
Fifth.
There's, yeah. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 caterpillar.
Okay, so I put up your little your diagram of where you can go shoot them. I thought there was a picture in here. Oh, there's all of your orchids.
Right.
But now you told me that because of COVID you have shelves and stuff, right?
Right. So it
Nice.
doesn't look like that anymore, but the same orchids are still here.
So each one of these containers, so if somebody wanted to start raising butterflies, like how would they do that? What would you suggest that they do? So what I mean, do you just like pull the caterpillar off and stick them in a jar? Like, do you
Yep.
need to put holes in the jar?
Yes.
Like,
You put holes in the jar, but it's just containers. And then I just let one or two caterpillars grow in that container. And normally when they get big enough to make their chrysalis, then I put them in their own container and add a stick. And then normally, if I'm lucky, they'll actually crawl onto the stick and make the chrysalis. And then on the bottom, there's a base, and it has some floral foam, and I just kind of stick it in there. And then
oh,
that's when they, I think it's 9 days to about 2 weeks. It depends on if it's winter versus summer. If it's really hot, it's 9 days. 2 weeks if it's cold. So right now I've been waiting a few weeks, and they haven't hatched yet.
so is it easier to raise your own butterflies? I'll stop sharing here for a second. Is it easier to raise your own butterflies than it is to just go photograph them in nature? I mean, like, why would you want to raise your own butterflies?
Because control, I can shoot the butterflies the way I want to. Right after they hatch, they stay a while. The fritillaries do. The monarchs, you have maybe 5 minutes to play around with them, and you don't want to around with them that long. It takes them a while for the fluid to actually go into the wings, so you don't want to mess that up because they have to hang upside down for a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because actually, I have here, I'll do another quick screen share. Because I have a video that you sent me of a time lapse of them coming out. So you're saying that what you want to do is you want to wait for them to come out of there?
Well, I like to photograph them while they're coming out.
Now, I had to speed this up like 600%. Because what is the real time that this takes? How long in the real world would that take?
It doesn't take that long. Like sometimes you have very good things.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That is cool. So, I mean, like, are we talking 20 minutes?
you have you can go to the bathroom and miss it. That's how fast you go. Which I've done that a lot. You spend before I even knew how to make it so it hatches when you want it to hatch. I would wait hours, and then I'm like sitting there. Okay, I'm gonna wait because if I walk away and come back, then it's already out of the chrysalis. So I actually learned that if you set everything up, and then you go outside, and then you have the sun kind of beating down on it to make it kind of warmer, and then you kind of see it moving a little bit, and you bring it back in, and then you start shooting.
Wow,
I
you
did
get
it
the.
to Linda. Linda's here, and I'm like, "Are you ready?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay." And she goes, "How long do I have to sit here?" I go, "Just a little bit." And she's like, "Wait a minute, I'm not ready."
So, so immediately my brain is like, okay, you're going to have this big class at F64, and you're going to bring, how are you going to, I mean, are you going to be able to figure out how to get these things to hatch so people can photograph them on
I'm
time?
gonna
Like,
try my hardest. Like,
oh, that's
if I
cool.
don't have a lot, it's because I didn't have enough eggs or caterpillars, but most likely I should have enough. And if I have over the amount, I might like have prizes where somebody could take a chrysalis home. And then I'll tell you how to like when it's going to hatch. You know the day it's going to hatch because it kind of stretches a little bit. The monarch turns black, so if it's like this deep black, then you know it's going to hatch that day, and it might hatch within minutes. The fritillaries, they kind of elongate, and then and then you set up that day, and then you just take it outside, and then when you start seeing it hatch, you just run back, but don't drop it.
So, do you have a setup all the time, like ready to go in case one of them's ready to hatch? You're like,
Well, you know,
hang on, no dinner, no, we're not going to.
I used to do that. I don't have
Troy,
to do that
Stan said
anymore.
he might have some.
What did you
uh,
say?
Stan
Stan
might
might
have
have
some.
some, he
Okay,
said.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
okay, yeah.
perfect.
Stan raises monarch, golfer Larrys, and painted
Oh,
ladies, and I don't know what Hummer's ad bugs are, but yeah, Stan has some. Stan actually showed me. I was over at his house one day, and he showed me the milk. I think it's the milkweed. Is that what it
okay,
is?
uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he showed me that, and I had no idea. I wouldn't know that that was an egg under there, like a
yeah,
monarch egg. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't have
And they
known.
devour milkweed. They,
Oh.
yeah, one caterpillar, if it's kind of a small milkweed, it'll just end up being a stick.
Okay, so this is not a pretty plant. Okay, so I'm not. You don't put this in like a highlight area of your yard unless you just
No.
the butterflies come first. Okay, I got it. I got it. That's perfect. So how did you learn about all of this? I mean, how did you know when they hatch and stuff? Were there resources that you found that we could share, or was this just experience?
It's experience, I'd say. I research a little bit on the internet, but there's not much to it. You just kind of like see how much they eat per day, and Fritillaria is the easiest. I've been wanting to grow painted ladies and the swallowtails, but I can't grow the dill. I've tried. I, I don't know if I need a really big plant, but I would love to grow the swallowtails.
So this is a frutillary, right?
Yep.
I only know that because the folder was labeled. I am not that good. I love this. Was this an image? Did you enter this?
No, it's just something I made because I liked it. But I love how when it comes out, the butt kind of wiggles, and then I love the wings being all folded up.
Right. It's I watched that. Um, I watched that one caterpillar or the butterfly come out of the chris. Is it a chrysalis? What's it called?
The chrysalis.
And I was like, how did you fit in there? Right? Like that thing was all folded up and stuck in
Yeah,
there.
it's amazing.
It is
You seriously
amazing.
watch it.
I
First,
I love this image. I know that you probably have more images that you've
I have a
produced.
ton. Yeah. But this is a stage I really like when they're coming out and their wings are crinkled.
Right, right. I'm just going through these. So after it comes out, and then are they because they have to be upside down for a while,
Right.
right?
So
And
the
then
liquid goes into their wings, and when they're ready, I just kind of tap their butts, and they're not ready to fly away, so they just kind of walk around. So just kind of keep it where I want to, and they're not bothered by the flash at all.
so do you keep them on like on a lazy Susan so you can spin them around really quick and change the direction? Like I want to
I've
see you
done that,
fade.
yeah. So you don't have to move them.
Right, right. So I'm assuming this is inside, probably under that same setup that you showed before.
Yeah,
So
similar setup.
now I noticed that you had a gigantic softbox, which is a big softbox even for a human, right? Do you need a softbox that big, or is that just what you like, or just
It's
what you
what I
have?
like.
Okay,
Like yeah, I don't really like the small. It's not that big. I
compared
think
to a
it's
butterfly.
yeah, for a butterfly, yes. It's
I guess
huge.
I guess what I'm asking is if somebody wants to go photograph that a flower or a plant
You
or
don't have
something.
to have that big softbox.
Okay,
You just bring it closer.
but it's the quality of light. I mean, the quality of
Right.
light does matter, just like you would do on a portrait. So you want to have that.
Hmm.
So I noticed that the light tends to be flat. Really isn't a good word, but it doesn't have a lot of contrast. Do you add contrast later? You kind of
Yes.
mentioned you did. Okay.
I tend to like flat images because then I can match the butterfly or the flower to whatever I'm shooting. I add the shadows to match.
Oh, okay. So if you were to photograph a plant, outside, or or a butterfly
Mhm.
outside that had a particular lighting direction, then in here you could just add shadows to
Right,
match.
and highlights.
Got it. Got it. So for somebody, like for all of us, really, what would be the lens of choice that you're using, and how would we get started, other than just going in the backyard and like grabbing a weed, or going, okay, I'm gonna do the Karen said I could do this.
I tend to just use a 2470. It's my favorite lens. Um, you you don't need a really really long lens unless you have to. Most of the time, especially if you're going to something like the Butterfly Pavilion or Butterfly Jungle, you're not going to want a really long lens because people get in the way and you can't get that close. So you want something that you can just get right up to the butterfly.
I got it. So do you photograph your plant pieces? I mean, do you match the focal length for the butterfly and the plants? Like, do you always like stick around like a 50 or a 70 so that your perspective stays the same?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you don't want to shoot one wide and one narrow. Okay.
Right.
So so tell me, um, how many images are you working on at the same time? Like, is it do you have a constant library of images that you're working on, or do you find yourself task based?
Well, like right now, there's irises that I want to photograph outside, and I want to add certain butterflies, but I'm waiting for the irises to bloom. But I want an image that has like maybe 15 irises, and then I'll be probably cutting the leaves for it too. So it's kind of more like a field of irises um, as an art piece. Um, and then, yeah, I would end up like figuring out what butterflies look best in it. But I'm thinking like a white butterfly or maybe a painted lady that's lighter. Um, but I haven't really, I just kind of like look through my gallery, oh, this goes with this. And then I figure out like, okay,
Well, that's good. I mean,
I
that's
like,
it. That's good, because if somebody wants to get started photographing, right? Like it's with portraits, it's one way. With landscapes, there's all these like guidelines or rules, if you will. Like, here's the directions that we're going to go with that. You need this tools. You need this tripod. But pretty much everybody has a 24 to 70. Um, do you add
right.
any? Do you add any off-camera
I think
strobe at all?
you're right.
What's that?
Not when I go out and shoot. I don't normally ring strobes, but when
Okay,
I'm inside, I always shoot with strobes.
got it. Have you ever worked with constant light? Constant LED
No,
lights
I
that are on
don't
all the
know.
time?
Yeah.
No, no. Okay.
Um,
I, I,
I
I
tend to, right now, I really like flying butterflies. So, or flying like hummingbirds or whatever I can catch with movement. So, I don't know if I can get the stop action that I would want using consistent light, right? Or you
well,
could.
it'd have to be really bright. Yeah, I mean, you can stop action. You have to higher
Yeah, that's what I
shutter
was thinking.
speed. Yeah, because I'm thinking I can't do it now. I don't have them, but I have dragonflies that show up in my backyard, and I have these
Oh, you do?
sticks. Yeah, I've actually photographed them in flight,
Uh-huh.
which was crazy fun, and they're super bold.
Yeah.
And we used to have these plants next to my pool that had these big long leaves that hung out over the water, and I noticed that they always used to sit there. Well, we took the leaves out, so I made
Uh-huh.
metal poles. I got these metal rods that hang out over my pool, and they come and they fight over that. So I can just sit out there and they don't care. You can stand right
Uh,
next to them, and yeah, they're not pretty like butterflies though.
yep. And then they actually come to the same place.
They do. So you were telling
And
me, and I
butterflies do that too.
yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to bring up, was some tips about photographing butterflies. So if I go in my backyard and I see a butterfly on a flower and I sneak over there and I want to kind of get close and he flies away, should I just give up, or is it going to come back?
I would just park it, and most of the time, especially if you're surrounded by flowers, just get a little stool and just sit there and just wait for the butterflies to come to you.
Okay. And then do
It's just
they do
a
they fly
waiting
a
game.
pattern? Do they
Patience. Any TikTok.
Yeah. Do they fly a
Yes,
pattern?
they
Okay.
tend to fly in a pattern. So
Got it.
dragonflies do that too.
They do, and well, dragonflies are very territorial, so we will recognize them, and they run off other dragonflies, which is actually pretty cool. Um, but haven't gotten any photographs of them
Uh,
actually fighting
yeah,
each other. They'll run into each other.
butterflies are a little like that too.
Mean
Uh,
butterflies. Butterflies can't be mean.
it must be fun. Yeah,
you
they
need
can.
you need to do like wrestling butterflies. Oh man. So we have
Right.
Stan has asked if you've had a greater fritillary. I don't know what that is. Is that a
A
different?
greater? No.
Is
I
that a,
want Stan to share that.
yeah, yeah. Stan, jump on in here.
Can he talk?
He can talk. Stan's good at talking.
Yeah, yeah. Last year, we had greater Gulf fritillaries come through. First time I've ever seen them in my entire life. They're
So how are they
almost,
different?
yeah, I have those. I have like yours. I have the same ones you have, same type of deal. But I've seen greater Gulf fritillaries last year for the first time. There are more in southern, I would say northern Mexico, real
Hmm.
southern California. But sometime last year, they made their way up here. I got some pretty good shots of them in my front yard on my lantana.
Oh, how are they different from the normal Gulf
They
fritillary?
look like a Gulf fritillary, but they're like more like a gold color.
Okay.
The whole wings. And you know how the Gulfies are orange? You know, we call them
Uh-huh.
Gulfies, right?
Yeah.
The Gulfies are orange, and these are more of a gold color. I'll
Okay.
share an image at the end if they let me. So,
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, yeah. See, now you're gonna have her chasing new butterflies. All right. Yeah. If you have an image, Stan, go ahead and share
I'm
it.
gonna
This
have to
is
go over to that house.
what's that? Yeah. Go to Stan's house. Does
Yeah,
any?
we're gonna all have to go.
yeah.
We're gonna go to Stan's house next week.
Oh, trust me, I've had a whole bunch of people here, as they know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stan, do you have an image that you can share?
I'm looking for it right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Very cool. We got a couple more people popping in. So Karen, one of the things that has always amazed me about your work is just the intent. It looks very painterly. Were you inspired
Mhm.
by anybody else's art, or was that just something that you developed over time?
I think it's more developing it over time. I really love Sherry Bloom's work.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually a painter, and then I have an art background, so I can actually paint images.
Very
I
nice.
kind of paint on the images like with shadow and highlights. So that might be the reason why it kind of looks painterly.
when like on this image right here
Hmm.
with these particular flowers. Did you photograph these all at one time and then have a butterfly standing by, or do you tend to photograph a flower and say, "Hey, I really like that. I'm going to come back to that sometime. Maybe sometime I'll find a butterfly for that or a thing."
Yeah, actually, the flowers I shot way before, and I didn't know what to do with it at all. Um, I think I shot it back in 2015. It's one of the first ones I shot, and I just really liked the flowers. And then finally, maybe 3 or 4 years later, it might be 5 years, I found this butterfly. Decided, oh yeah, I think I can go to that anthurium.
So you remembered it after all that time?
Now I know my flowers.
Holy cow.
It's all categorized.
Oh man, that is super
Yep.
amazing. I love that. All right, I was gonna find some more of your images. I just got so much stuff here for you. Because one of the things that I was thinking about was, do you sit down and plan the whole shot out, from getting to end? But it sounds to me like you're just hunting all the time, and then you put them together.
Right. It could be both. I might know exactly what I want to shoot as far as the flower and the butterfly, and I'm just waiting for the right time. Um, Like it could be my head, how I want to do it. Sometimes a vase. Depends on which one inspires me first.
Right. When you're
Michael wants to know what type of software you're using for painting, for doing the art portion of it. Or is it all Photoshop?
Photoshop.
All Photoshop.
Pretty much
all
awesome.
Photoshop, yeah.
Yep.
When you're photographing your images, what do you find to be the best setup to mask? Because is it always a white background? Is the white background the best for masking?
No. So if it's a dark flower, then I put a light background. And most of the time I shoot on gray because it's just easy. And then you don't even have to like white balance. You just like click on the button for the white balance in Lightroom.
Oh, for the background? Okay.
Yeah. And then I alter it too to how I would like it. Oh, yeah. That's so pretty.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you notice what it's on, right? It's on milkweed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's on milkweed.
Yeah, so milkweed's not ugly.
No, it's not ugly. Although the bugs that get attracted to it are ugly.
Oh yeah, the milkweed bugs. Yeah, I have a great macro picture of one of those.
The one with the skull in the background, the red skull, and it's black.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that the butterfly's eyes are reflecting the milkweed, or are they actually the same color as the milkweed? Sorry.
Okay.
A second too late.
Well, actually, no, I'm still here.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
They sometimes, depending how close you are, and I usually shoot with a 105 millimeter macro or a wide angle lens. Sometimes they'll pick up the color of the flower, but their eyes are really, the Gulfies, as Karen knows, have great eyes.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful eyes.
Wonderful.
Stan, can you show that image again?
Sure.
Now you're gonna have butterfly envy from Karen over there.
I know. Now I'm gonna be looking for them.
You gotta figure out.
Yeah, they're pretty rare up here. I mean, further south, but yeah, it stuck around for about a week.
Wow.
So is that actually the color of the butterfly's eyes?
That's the actual color of the butterfly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I think
It's
John
that
was asking.
Gold and white. It really is amazing
no,
colors.
The eye looks like it either has a reflection of the milkweed flower in it.
Yeah, that's the color of that
That's the
particular
color,
butterfly's eye.
Oh wow, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
I shot that early in the morning while I was feeding on my front porch. As you know, Troy, I got tons of plants and stuff and weird stuff in my house. So
Yeah. Is it? I would say weird, just very entertaining.
eclectic.
Very
Entertaining.
Yeah, Karen, you can come over anytime.
Okay. I'm gonna take you
Not
up
right
on-
now, though. Not right now. You gotta wait.
No, not right now.
Well, that would be really cool. Yeah, that's very interesting. I never actually noticed the butterflies in my backyard, and I know that you do that, Karen. And this is just sort of as a photographer, that's a whole world that I have never pursued. Right? Is photographing like the butterflies and the flowers and things like that.
No
'Cause
little
I'm always chasing brides, right? Like I'm always busy. But right now, I go in the backyard and I'm like, oh look, there's a critter on a butterfly, or on a flower. I'm gonna photograph that. I have no idea what you are.
And it's relaxing.
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of zen, like it's totally different from weddings, which is like go, 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 high energy. And then by the end, you're like tired, like, oh man, I need an Advil, right?
But you know my proclivity for lighting things on fire, so you know. The flowers.
Take kindly to that.
I would never light a butterfly on fire. I mean, I might make it look like he's on fire, but I would never light a butterfly on fire.
Only if it's dead.
Yeah. Oh, see, that wouldn't even be cool. I photographed. We have giant lizards in my backyard, and many years ago, I found this giant. He must have been like over a foot long, and he drowned in my pool. So I fished him out, and I did a portrait session with him and a Barbie doll.
What?
I did. I did. I'll have to find it. It's not for everybody's taste, but it's pretty
Is
fun.
it like weird?
Yeah, well, it was like a love story, right? So I set it up with Barbie
Story.
and the the lizard, and they got closer, and then the lizard was on Barbie's lap, and this is what happens when you're stuck at home. So
Okay. You want to see it?
yeah, I'll dig it out someday. So as we go through this, and everybody has an opportunity now to go out and photograph. Do you guys have any questions? There's like 30 of you here, and we've got one question. Anybody? This is Karen Nakamura, the amazing Karen.
I got a million of them, but I I don't want to go there.
No, go ahead, Stan. If somebody else has a question, they can jump in.
So Karen, the painted ladies are out right now, right?
They are?
Yes, we've had probably 100 or so go through the backyard in the last couple of days. I've had a few of them light on some of the plants.
Yeah, they're all over Redlands, like thousands.
Right.
Wow.
There's quite a few of them out this. I want to say about 5 years ago, there was an invasion of their caterpillars. Actually, literally, there was thousands of them coming down my street. I don't know where they thought they were going, but they were on a migration path. And I was like laying on the sidewalk, as Troy knows I will do, to take macro shots of these caterpillars and stuff, up close. But I raise other butterflies too. I raise monarchs, right?
Uh-huh.
I had some. Do you know what a queen is?
No.
You don't know what a queen is? I will show you I have to show this, Troy. Hold on.
What is
So-
it?
I'm stumping her. So yeah.
Painted lady, does that grow on thistle?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a queen, though.
Okay.
See, I feel like this is a world of information that I didn't even know existed. This is like the whole subculture photographers. Like, I know there's birders, What do you call people who photograph butterflies? No, nothing. We could make stuff up.
There you go. There you go, Karen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that. I have some.
That's a
images.
member of the monarch family.
I have never seen that one outside my house, though.
It looks just like a monarch caterpillar when it's small, but it has 3 sets of antennae instead of 2.
Wow. Okay. So, does that grow on milkweed too?
Yes, only milkweed.
Okay. That's
I
interesting.
mean, trust me, I've been through thousands of dollars of milkweed.
Yeah, because if you run out, then you have to go out to Home Depot and buy some more.
yeah, or Lowe's or whoever has it, or local nursery. We got quite a few places we go to get it, and then you got to make sure it's not sprayed with insecticides because you don't want the cats to die.
Right.
It gets to be a regular thing. Troy's been to my house, and so is Frank Peel. I don't know if Frank's on here, but usually when we're full bore with that, we have quite an operation. We raised over 1,100 of them one year.
Wow. So are you a butterfly sanctuary then?
Yes, we're registered, and we're also a wildlife registered sanctuary too.
Wow.
I have all kinds of things. Actually, I've been shooting a lot at home because I can't go anywhere. So I had a Cooper's hawk land in a tree in the front the other day, which was very interesting. And I have all kinds of stuff going through here right now, and there's a lot of things that are blooming that are this time of year that start to bloom, and they attract a lot of butterflies and things. So it should get real interesting real quick.
I see these yellow butterflies all the time. With
Sulfurs. The sulfurs?
So what do they lay their eggs on?
Oh, it's I bought one of those plants and it died. I didn't have any good luck with it. But I got a friend of mine who raises all kinds of different butterflies, swallowtails, and all kinds of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a macro shoot at my house, probably a couple of years ago, like a shoot around kind of thing.
Right.
And I didn't have any monarchs at the time, but she did. She let me a monarch so everybody could shoot. But yeah, she raises all kinds of those things. So here comes my wife. What was that plant that those sulfurs? used. Do you remember the one that we didn't have any luck with? She
I,
doesn't remember either.
I
So.
love the shift. You know, this is what's always so fun about hanging out, right? Like now Karen's asking Stan, like, "Ooh, how do I get those? Can you guys trade butterflies? Like, can you trade them? Be like, okay, you're gonna raise these, and I need some of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Can you? I
Right.
mean, can
Right.
you
You
do
know
that?
how it is, Karen. Right. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
So if Loy says I want to start raising frutillaries, how does she start?
You need the passion fruit vine. So you,
She's shaking her
after
head,
a while,
no.
you come over here.
And it
you
has to
get
be
that
the
little-
fruitless passion vine. It can't be
Right.
the fruited kind. The fruitless.
So the milkweed, does that die after they've eaten it all?
Actually, when you cut it back, you can regen it. We have a greenhouse alongside of my house. We probably got 50 plants in there right now. We've regened a lot of the milkweed and stuff. We're ready in case anybody shows up.
Wow.
All right, so Stan is going to be the Butterfly Home Depot
Right.
for anybody looking to raise monarchs, right? We can get you a little starter plant, a little starter monarch.
You only get one caterpillar.
And one caterpillar.
No, as you know, Karen, one caterpillar and one milkweed plant does not a good plan make. One caterpillar, maybe 20 milkweed plants would be good.
Yeah.
Really? Okay,
They
so
eat so
They will eat 5 times their weight a day when they're growing up or something. They're 50 times. It's a big number. It's huge.
Yeah.
holy cow. Okay, so that's why you can't keep yourself in milk veg. Got it.
It's a very
milkweed.
expensive hobby. I think my wife said we spent like $1,500 one year or something like that, close to it on milkweed, and runs to the Home Depot and all that stuff.
Wow. Well, I hope that you're writing all that stuff off, Stan.
I know.
You can't. I wish they were. I wish they were dependents, right?
No,
You
well,
need
I mean,
to
for your
photograph it
photography
and-
business, you can
Yeah.
write those off as supplies.
Mm-hmm. You could.
Yep. Those are supplies. You need those, so you write that stuff off.
Especially
Definitely.
when you start doing your art.
He does. He competes. He sells. He shoots. So you
Yeah.
can be writing that stuff
Perfect.
off. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, I shoot all kinds of stuff. The odd duck stuff, as Troy
That's a-
knows.
yeah, that's a whole business discussion. So Karen, coming towards our last 10 minutes or so, what advice would you give these guys between now and 2 weeks from now when we're going to do part two? Part two, you're gonna dive in and you're gonna take some images. You're gonna show us how to mask out, how you do your masking and how you do your compositing and you do your Photoshop work. So everybody really needs to have an assignment between now and then.
So are they gonna like do the artwork with me?
Well, they could. We don't know. I mean, but I just feel like between now and then it would be really cool for them to have something to photograph and to have ready to go. So, it's applicable. So,
Well, if you happen to be like in your grocery store, like Vons, or like if you go to Trader Joe's, they have a ton of beautiful flowers. Let me show you. This is from Home Depot. But just purchase some flowers and photograph it. You can either do it natural light. You just need the white foam core as a fill light, or you can just use the softbox with the foam core. I use gray, and then I use white foam core, like little tiny foam cores as a fill, and then photograph the flower. And then if you're like stand and have butterflies, shoot the butterflies on set, and otherwise shoot the butterflies and then shoot the flowers to match.
there you go. Johnny was asking, he says, my sagebush attracts hummers. Will it attract butterflies? I think butterflies have very specific plants they like, right?
No, I don't think they do. I think the butterflies go to pretty much most flowers.
Mm.
I could be wrong, but I know that fritillaries go on to like lantanas. They go across the street. I'm not even sure what they have over there, like those paper purple flowers.
You
they
know
don't
that your
have.
butterflies go across the street?
Yes, and sometimes I release them.
I love it.
Because there's so many flowers there.
That's awesome. So everybody needs to go out and photograph something. You got
Yeah.
2 weeks. Go find yourself a flower or a plant. If you now, I noticed you don't always use flowers though, right? I mean, you could find yourself like a sexy plant to mask out and light
Yeah.
as well, and then try to find a butterfly. Or if you can't get a butterfly, get a bird. If you can't get a bird, get somebody in your house to pose like a butterfly.
Yeah.
Right? You could use them.
You can actually shoot photograph birds and then just have like little thistle seeds or even like peanuts and things, and then just leave it out like on a table and then photograph it. Maybe put a diffuser on top of it, but the birds eventually come. If there's food, they're gonna come.
Yeah, we put out a bird feeder, and I don't know how the bird network works, but we put out a bird feeder, and like in 3 days, there's like 15 birds.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, how do they know? How do they know?
They tell their friends.
Somebody's like, hey, there's over here at Troy's house, there's a bird feeder, and the cat can't get to us, so you need to come here.
Right. Just make sure when you have the bird feeder, don't have like places for cats to hide. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. Well, the cats can hide and watch. My cat loves to watch, but he can't get to them because they're way up in the tree. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Any more questions? Anybody have any more questions for Karen? How we doing? No? It's nice and quiet out there.
It's very
I don't see any more in chat.
No.
And you said we're going to reconvene in 2 weeks. So is that the 22nd?
29th, right?
I think it's the 29th. Yeah.
Okay, so 3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. I'm sorry. So yeah, look, you guys got an extra week to do your homework. Be recorded. It is recorded, and I will be posting it on YouTube. And in the YouTube description, I will have links to her Instagram and her webpage and some other places where you can go and stalk Karen. She is also, keep your eyes out for on f64live.com because she's going to be an instructor there. So you could come by and you could give her a hug if it's appropriate by then.
Hey, Karen, if you need an assistant at F64, I'm your guy.
Okay. Perfect. And we're gonna.
I also sent you my Instagram feed in your chat.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank
Stan, you should talk to the organizer of F64. I'm sure we can work something out.
Yeah, I might know the guy. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, everybody, have a super awesome evening. Karen, again, thank you so much for coming on and letting me sort of run you through the gamut. I know how much you love presenting.
Oh my gosh.
Next time you're going to be on, you're just going to be in your element as well, just showing us some of your photographs and some things like that. So that'll be really great. So
we're gonna have like everybody working on their pictures too, right?
We could, yes, absolutely. You know what? Maybe what we'll do is, well, I'm not going to say anything. You and I will talk. And we'll see if we can get some assets and send out some starter kit, right, for everybody to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
sounds
I see
great.
Lloyd nodding over
Amazing
there.
butterfly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. You take care, guys. This has been awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen.